Great. Sorry about that. I didn't realize it left.
All good. And I see that we have some people starting to come in now. Just wanted to let you guys know that we are going to wait just a few minutes to let everyone join in on the webinar before we get started. So it'll be just a few minutes before we get started here. Welcome to our webinar, guys. We will get started in just a few minutes. We'll give a couple minutes just so we can allow some more people to jump onto this webinar. But thank you guys for joining us today. We'll get started in just a few. Hi, everyone. Thank you guys for joining us today. We are going to give it just another minute or two to let some of the people who have registered join us on the webinar today. We did just get a note that some people might be experiencing some technical difficulties accessing the webinar. So we're going to wait just a couple more minutes to allow those people to join us. Hi guys, and welcome to our webinar. We're going to go ahead and get started, and we may have a few more people filtering in. So I'm going to take a second on my welcome, but first of all, I just wanted to say congratulations to all of you admitted students out there. Thank you so much for joining us today on our experiential learning webinar. We wish that we could be giving this presentation to you guys in person and on campus, but obviously we want everyone to stay safe and healthy. So we have taken to bringing our campus partners to you, and we're really excited to be able to meet with you guys in this online format. Really excited to continue to engage with you guys. I know that your senior year probably isn't shaping up exactly the way that you had hoped. But we just want you to know that all of us here at Ohio State are here to support you in any way that we can, and hope to be able to provide some really great information about Ohio State to you guys today. So we will go ahead and get started. First of all, we'd like you to know that you guys can engage with us throughout this webinar. So the easiest way to do this is going to be through our Q&A function, which you'll see at the bottom of your screen. The Q&A function allows you to ask questions, which we will then answer via text, or some of them we will also answer live throughout the webinar, and there will be a longer form Q&A at the end where we will also answer a lot of those questions. So we have a number of staff members monitoring that Q&A to answer any questions that you guys have. We do just ask that you make sure to not put any personal identification information in those Q&As. Those questions can be seen by everyone, so just make sure that you're keeping the questions fairly general, making sure that they're things that everyone wants to hear. If you do have personal questions about your situation, feel free to connect with us after the webinar. We will have a page with all of our contact information on it. So feel free to connect with us afterwards, and we're happy to help you with your specific situation as well. There is also the chat function available. Just so you know, we won't really be checking for questions in the chat, but if you do have any technical issues, please feel free to put it there and we will do our best to address that. Also, I would just like to make it known we do have people monitoring the chat, but we might not be able to answer every single question. We will do our best to get to all of your questions as we can, but just keep in mind if we do happen to miss your question or are unable to answer it, again, I encourage you to connect with us after the webinar, and we're happy to help you on a more individual one-on-one basis at that time. So just a quick overview of what we'll be covering in today's webinar. This is the Experiential Learning webinar. And so we will be covering service learning at Ohio State. We'll be covering the Office of Undergraduate Research and Creative Inquiry, Education Abroad, and Buckeye Careers. We want to make sure that you guys know about all the different experiential learning opportunities that are available to you as students here at Ohio State. And we will wrap up at the end with that Q&A that I mentioned to answer any questions that you guys have. As a note, obviously, we will have partners from each of these areas talking about the opportunities available. So if you have a question for, say, Education Abroad, I encourage you to wait until after they present their portion of the webinar, as they may answer your question within their portion. So be sure to check for that as well. And I just want to introduce everyone that we have on our panel today. So my name is Jenna Messer. I'm an admissions counselor at Ohio State, and I'll just be kind of hosting the webinar, controlling the presentation, and here to keep us moving along. We also have Claire Swigart from Service Learning, Kayla Daniel with Undergraduate Research and Creative Inquiry, Louise, I already forgot how to pronounce your name. I'm so sorry, Louise. But Louise is here with Education Abroad, and she'll be answering those questions. We do also have Jenny Bickley from Education Abroad, who will be answering questions on the back end with Brittany Savko, also from Admissions. And then we have Nancy Thompson from Buckeye Careers. So these are all your wonderful panelists that are going to be presenting with us today, and they're going to tell you about all of the opportunities within their offices. So without further ado, I am going to pass it on to Claire to get started with service learning.
Great, thanks Jenna, and congratulations everyone. Thanks for joining us today. So I'm just going to start first broadly with this idea of experiential education, why these 4 offices got lumped together, and what kind of opportunities you should be looking for once you arrive at Ohio State. So if you want to go to the next slide. Great. All right, awesome. So what is experiential education? Basically, it's a way of teaching that connects a direct experience outside of the classroom environment with your more traditional classroom-based course content. And it generally will involve reflection activities, things that are guided by a faculty mentor or instructor that connect your experience out in the quote-unquote real world with your classroom learning. And there are a lot of great reasons why you should look for these kind of opportunities. They help you develop a different skill set and skills that are going to be really important for things like your resume when you go out there to try to market yourself to employers. And it also will help you make that classroom learning more relevant to your life, to your future goals, to what exactly you want to get out of your college experience. In addition, these sorts of opportunities where you're getting out there and getting more hands-on helps create more room for student discovery, for you to learn about yourself, about your communities, and about what you want to do in college and once your college experience has ended. So then to turn specifically to the idea of service learning, I know a lot of folks have engaged in service activities during their high school years, so you're probably familiar with the concept of doing service, but what makes service learning unique is that it's closely tying those service activities that you're doing out in a community in need with your course content. So in the course that's a service learning course, you'll be investigating the social issues that are related to the service activity, thinking about what are the underlying causes of the social issue that's being addressed, and thinking creatively, applying your new knowledge and skills to coming up with possible solutions to some of these social issues. So again, reasons, in addition to the reasons that I talked about just any kind of experiential learning, with service learning, you have the opportunity to learn about and engage with new communities. Even if you're from Columbus originally, in a service learning class, there's a good chance you'll be learning and working with a community that is not the one that you're from. So that's a really exciting opportunity to get to learn and really get to feel like you are part of Columbus. And of course, making a positive impact on a social issue is really something that drives a lot of Ohio State students, and developing as a citizen and a community member. So service learning at Ohio State, I'm going to talk about a few specifics here. First of all, I wanted to start with Ohio State's overall vision statement. So this is something I think that separates us from a lot of other universities out there. We are truly committed to the idea of being a community engaged institution. We want every Ohio State student to get out there, give back to the community, feel like they're a real part of their communities, not just during their college years, but also as they move on beyond Ohio State. So this is just a quick graph to show a little bit of that commitment. This is the number of service learning courses that we offer here at Ohio State. So as you can see now, every year we offer almost 70 different classes that have a service learning component to them. So there's lots of opportunity here to get involved. And so if you're wondering, well, okay, this sounds really cool, how do I make this work for me? A lot of our service learning courses will fulfill some of your general education requirements, things in diversity or other areas of the general education. And depending on your major or minors that you're pursuing, Some of our service learning courses also will fill some of those required courses or some of your elective options. So there's something you can keep your eye out for whenever you're looking to check your boxes. And that's definitely a conversation to have with your advisor. They can make sure that any course you want to take will count toward your progress to your degree and filling in those majors and gen ed requirements. So definitely talk to your advisors for how to make that work in your plan. And then, so in addition to just, achieving your goals at Ohio State, we also want to think about your career path, what you intend to do after Ohio State. And so right now, a lot of you probably have some idea of the area you're interested in or an issue that you'd like to work on, perhaps. But something to think about is the variety of ways that you can engage with that social issue. And service learning is one way to help you identify the types of activities that you enjoy and the way that you want to make a difference with your career. So the last concept I want to leave you with is this idea of pathways through that you can pursue different career options. So whether you have a topic that you already know that you care about, but you don't know exactly how you want to make a difference on it, through service learning courses, through service-related student groups, through all kinds of different opportunities you'll find at Ohio State, you can explore these different ways to make a difference on the social issue you care about. Or let's say that you already know, you're really interested in this idea of entrepreneurship. That's what you want to pursue. Well, being at Ohio, when you get to Ohio State, you'll have the opportunity through a variety of different classes to pursue different topics and figure out how exactly you can use your interest in entrepreneurship to make a positive difference in your community. So I would just encourage you to talk to your advisors when you get here and to explore all of those different opportunities to figure out what you find fulfilling, what matches your passion and interest, and how you can make a difference. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kayla, who's going to talk more about our undergraduate research opportunities.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kayla. I am currently the program coordinator in the Office of Undergraduate Research and Creative Inquiry. I'm also a Buckeye alum, so I was in your shoes 6 years ago. I know exactly how you feel. It's exciting to be Buckeye bound, so I hope to see a lot of you on campus this fall. So we're going to go through some information about undergraduate research today. So here are some of the basics about doing undergraduate research at Ohio State. Undergraduate research at Ohio State is extremely common. There's a lot of students across all disciplines and all fields doing research. So you don't have to think that research is just for STEM or engineering majors. I have seen dance projects, food science projects, pretty much any kind of research you can think of, I've seen it. And there are many benefits to participating in undergraduate research, including academic benefits, professional benefits, and personal benefits. And whether you plan on going on to graduate school or even into the workforce after your time at Ohio State, a lot of the skills that you learn, such as critical thinking, communication, and teamwork skills, all translate into these different areas after your undergraduate career. Undergraduate research is also a great way to connect what you're learning in your classes to real-world implications outside the classroom. Not only can you find careers in research, but you can also research topics that can be translated into real life. So I know that we have a lot of research at Ohio State that focuses on cancer and genetics, and a lot of the research happening here is going to make great strides in the medical community. So you can really be working on research that takes what you're learning and putting it out there. And many students can become published authors or present at conferences while they are still undergraduate students. So it's really a great way to get what you're learning out there and be connected with your field so that you have a great stepping stone into your future. So getting started in research at Ohio State doesn't have to be scary. We're an R1 research institution, which means that a lot of our faculty are either already working on research or have a great knowledge about how to do research in their respective fields. So there's a lot of opportunities that exist for you to get involved with undergraduate research. And what our office really likes to discuss are these 3 steps to getting involved in research, which I truly believe are the most beneficial and easiest ways students find research projects at Ohio State. So 1, defining your topic of interest, whether you'd like to do research on your major, minor, or something that you're interested in outside of those, you can choose what you're interested in. I wouldn't go something as so generic as saying I'm interested in biology or history research. Try to think of something that's a little bit more niche inside your topics to be able to not get overwhelmed by the number of options you may have out there. 2, identifying potential faculty members. There are a lot of different colleges and schools across campus to find different faculty members in, and you don't have to complete research inside of your specific field. For example, a lot of students that might be biochemistry or biology majors have actually done research in the dental school and the medical school. So there are a lot of options to do research in places outside of just your home department. And lastly, contacting these potential faculty members. So writing professional emails to faculty members requesting mentorship, or maybe asking them to join an established project or lab that they already have at the university that you find really interesting. Another thing to note is that while students generally seek out faculty members, there may be some positions advertised either by your academic advisor or on our office's website. So there are options to find research, whether you have a project that you would like to research on your own with a faculty member, or finding a project that is already established and being able to join in and help out with the project. So when it comes to undergraduate research at Ohio State, there are some frequently asked questions that I get during my presentations. So 1, when is the right time to get started with undergraduate research? I really believe that there's not a right time to get started in research, it's just what's right for you. I've seen students who come to campus for their orientation or even for their first few weeks. They'll find a research project right away when they get on campus and get involved. I've also seen last semester senior students do a research project that they'll continue in the summer until they move on to grad school or their next adventure. So really just figuring out when research fits best into your schedule and when you can find the time commitment for it. So that kind of leads into number 2, how many hours a week are typically dedicated to research? This also depends on your schedule, your mentor, and the project you're working on. During the semester, when students are taking full-time classes, I see anywhere between 3 to 10 hours a week dedicated to research. In the summer, I have seen up to 38 hours of research being done, like a full-time job, but that's usually when students are not in full-time classes. So again, it really just is what you can do and what you can fit into your schedule. 3, are undergraduate researchers compensated? Typically, students are not paid for the research that they complete. However, there are a lot of students that will find funding opportunities, whether they come from our office, honors and scholars, or other university scholarships and grants, or even external ones. There are also other ways to be essentially compensated for your research. So for example, a lot of students will actually get academic credit for their research. This can go towards different requirements such as upper division courses. Some majors have capstone requirements, or some students who are honors may be required to do research, and these academic credit hours can help you fulfill that. And sometimes students just volunteer their time in a research lab with no kind of credit or compensation. And lastly, are there any requirements to getting started in research? There are none, besides being an undergraduate student who wants to do research. I will say that if you are interested in doing any kind of medical research or something in the life sciences, faculty members may want you to have your introductory courses taken, such as, bio or chemistry, or at least taken some sort of class like that, just so you kind of have your footing. And sometimes with engineering projects, some professors may want you to have some sort of coding or software understanding, but however, none of these are actually required to get started in research. They are just some suggested guidelines by faculty members that I've worked with in the past. And so for my last slide, I have our office resources and our office contact information. So our office offers a lot of resources from students, whether it's getting started in research with advising appointments, when you're doing research, helping you find grants and funding and presentation opportunities and research postings, and even towards the end, helping with thesis prep or conference aid, things like that. We help you with all sorts of research questions and activities you might be interested in. And we also offer different presentation opportunities that help students have experience talking about their research, especially if you want to go to grad school. That's something you might want to know how to talk about, things like that. So we have a lot of resources on our office's website and in person. So our contact information, everything that I've talked about and more is housed on our website, ugresearch.osu.edu. That's where I have information about advising appointments, presenting, and I even have a research positions tab if you'd like to see what kind of research exists or what some of the postings look like. Our email is ugresearch@osu.edu. I'm always checking the email, so if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I love hearing from prospective students. And then lastly, our office's phone number, 614-292-8307. So if you would like to reach out to the office, I very much encourage you to do so, and go Bucks.
So before we move on to the next portion, I did see a lot of questions rolling in. Brittany, I don't know if you have a couple that we should maybe have Kayla or Claire answer now. We can take probably a couple of questions and then we'll move on.
Hello, my apologies. My computer just froze, so I hope I'm chiming in at the right time. Thanks for sharing more about research, Kayla. We did have a lot of fantastic questions come through the Q&A. Kayla, I know you mentioned that research does not have to be scary, which is great. How difficult would you say it is for students to participate in research? Is it competitive?
Yes, I would say that research here is a bit competitive depending on what you're looking to do research in. So for example, there are a limited number of psychology labs that exist within the psychology department with a lot of students who'd like to do that. But a lot of times these students will actually break out into different colleges, such as looking at educational psychology through the College of Education and Human Ecology, or we've even seen students join psychiatry research trials over at the Wexner Medical Center. So while there might be limited opportunities, let's say in your home department, there are a ton of opportunities that exist on campus. It just takes finding those opportunities and what suits you best. Our office, with the advising appointments that we have, I work really hard to try and connect you with the resources to help find research you're interested in and that you'd like to pursue, and can also help connect you with those faculty members as well to help get you along in the research process.
Fantastic. And one additional question, does research require presentations, or are those optional opportunities?
So those are optional opportunities usually. If you are looking to write a undergraduate research thesis, you will likely have to defend that, which means giving a presentation about your research process, but that's not something that would happen until your senior year. Presentation opportunities are optional for students, and we offer a wide variety of them. So it doesn't have to just be, thinking about a science fair with posters or PowerPoint slides. We do really cool interactive ones, such as research at the Ohio State House, presenting and just kind of having discussions with Ohio senators and representatives. We're actually doing a virtual one now where students are just kind of moderating Q&As about their posters. A lot of different ways to get involved in research. So presenting is not required, but I do think it's a really fun part of the research process, being able to share what you learned and what you know with the campus community.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that great information, Kayla. And we will answer some more questions at the end of the presentation, but just to keep us rolling, we're going to go ahead and pass it on to Louise with Education Abroad.
Hi everyone, thank you so much on this lovely sunny afternoon in Columbus for being here listening to us talk about fun things. Congratulations to all of you as well for coming to campus this fall. We can't wait to see you. I'm going to talk to you today about education abroad. It's absolutely my passion in life. It's really something that I've done ever since I graduated, is work in international education. So I'm always excited when our new freshmen come to campus. I have a whole new group of people that I can talk to this about. So I work in the Office of International Affairs as an education abroad specialist, and OIA, the Office of International Affairs, is really where everything international on campus is based in terms of people coming in. That's the international students, the international faculty and researchers that we have. And then we send students out for education abroad. But there are lots of ways to internationalize yourself on campus that I just want to talk a little bit about before I get into the big parts of my presentation. So we are a really involved office on campus. You're going to see us everywhere when you start school in the fall. We are kind of in your face about international opportunities. And so there are lots of ways that you can interact. The department in our office, the Global Engagement Office, offers these opportunities for you to connect with international students who are on campus and have a kind of reciprocal cultural exchange. They do really fun events throughout the semester. They have excursions that travel over fall break. They're really involved in American culture, but the sharing of American culture and the understanding of the similarities with the cultures of the students that are coming to join us from overseas. We have an English conversation program where if you are interested in helping a non-native speaker of English improve their language skills and also form friendships, you can come along to our office during the week and participate in that. Campus-wide though, we have hundreds and hundreds of different courses that have an international theme. So you are going to touch on something global, something international at some point during your time at OSU, be that an international faculty member, researcher, a course that you take, language that you learn. There are lots of different ways to kind of globalize yourselves. But I'm going to talk mainly, obviously, about study abroad. So next slide. Okay, so education abroad is a really critical part of the programming here at OSU. It is a campus theme. It is a motivation and a mission for so many people all the way up to the president's office who want to see our students become intelligent, educated global citizens. So we send every year close to 3,000 students overseas. We're one of the biggest offices in America. There's only a couple that have more students than us that travel. So we're good at what we do. Our students do really well, and we are open to everybody. Forget this traditional idea of study abroad being for French majors who go to Paris in the summer. While we do have those options, absolutely, study abroad is for all majors and disciplines. And so we have the catchphrase, it's from anthropology to zoology and everything in between. You can find a program that will match your needs, that will give you academic credit that you can use and give you a cultural experience that you can then build on throughout your career at Ohio State. So our programs are dynamic too. They're dynamic in content, they're dynamic in terms of where they go and how long they go for. So we have programs that are 1 week, that go during spring break, that go during winter break, but then we have students who spend their whole academic year overseas. So there are tons of benefits that you will get from study abroad. It depends what you're looking for. It depends where you're at in your travel career. If you're just starting out, if you're someone who's had lots of travel, if you're someone who's very focused on a certain kind of credit or location in the world, there are different benefits. But some of the things that I will say I see most transformative in students are self-reliance, problem-solving skills, cross-cultural competencies, and really importantly for lots of Gen Zers like you is what you can do with this in terms of career, grad school, professional, personal, and academic development. So we have different kinds of programs. As I said, we're dynamic. We have varieties of options and locations that we offer, but we have different types of programs too. So faculty-led programs, that means programs that are born and bred. That's our catchphrase at Ohio State, our OSU faculty development, that only for OSU students. You travel as a group, you go with your faculty leader, you study abroad. Then we have third-party provider programs, which, as the title says, are organized by a third party, an institution outside of OSU, where you are authorized to study abroad via them. So that can be another university, it can be another education abroad provider, an institution. And then we have direct enroll programs. So those are programs where you apply directly to a university, an institution, a language center, a facility overseas, and you study abroad. And then we have the very traditional international education programs. And that's the kind of traditional idea of a student coming from Sweden and we send a student to Sweden, or a student coming from France and you taking their place in France. They're not as populous in terms of the numbers we send overseas, but they're definitely a big part of our portfolio. And there's something that students, as they reach their junior, senior year, start to consider. So a specific suite of programs that I'd like to talk a little bit about are called our Global May opportunities, and they are designed exactly for students like you, first years and second year students who are looking for a stepping stone, maybe introductory experience, or just the opportunity to travel overseas and get a GE taken care of. These are open to all majors. They're taught in English. They focus on themes like culture, society, history, events, people of certain locations. So they are typically a month long. They always travel during the month of May, which is ideal for study abroad because it comes right at the end of spring semester, but not yet into summer semester. So it's that month where you have the option of doing something that will give you academic credit, but still coming back to campus for summer, be that for a course or going home to work, do an internship, watch Judge Judy, whatever you do during your summers. You can still have that opportunity as well as having an international experience. So we have multiple locations for Global Mays. They are reeling off Great Britain, France, Spain. We have one in Italy, we have Brazil, China, Hungary, and Uganda in East Africa, which I've actually been lucky enough to go on for the past couple of years. These are transformative programs. They are broad spectrum, they're broad topic, but they give you the chance to meet people across campus from all different majors that you might not typically come across in a classroom or in your dorms. It gives you a chance to really have an intimate relationship with faculty overseas in terms of your professional, personal, and academic development that you might not have on campus. So the big question is, how do you afford to study abroad? I say this, I was a first-gen student. I struggled in terms of finding my place when I was at university, in terms of the money and the costs and so on. And I had my first study abroad experience when I was at university. It's my first travel experience. So the good news that I have for you is that we're a very understanding office. We are a really safe place for you to come in and say, look, I want to do something. I'm worried about finances. I need someone to talk to me frankly about what I can afford, where I can go, and how I can do it. The good news is that if you plan ahead, we can help you. The investment on this campus for study abroad is so student focused, and I'm so pleased to be able to say that we have initiatives for scholarships consistently year on year barrier to get over that barrier and then be able to study abroad. So plan ahead, come and see us as soon as possible, talk about your options, know what your program is likely to cost. Right now, if you were to say to me, what does the average program cost? I would say a couple of things. One, it depends. Where are you going? How long for? What's included? So that's why coming and speaking to us in person is really important. The good news is you can use your financial aid too. If you have a FAFSA on file, you may find that your cost of attendance increases because you're studying abroad, and that may mean that you've got more financial aid available to you. You can also apply for the myriad of scholarships that we have available. There are awards through our office in international affairs. We're huge investors in our student population. And then there are other university offices like Diversity Inclusion, Multicultural Centre, Honours and Scholars that also have awards for students. On top of that, there are many, many external scholarships. The investment goes beyond Ohio State. Universally, I think we all recognize the importance of being culturally competent. And so even our federal government, the State Department, has specific awards to enable students to study abroad. I am fortunate that I get to work with students who receive Pell Grants, who get to go on programming using the Gilman Scholarship. So I would be really pleased to talk to anybody about financial aid and costs, as anybody would in our office, as soon as you come to campus. So where do you go from here? How do you get started doing all of this? I know some of you are sitting there thinking probably, this is what other people do. This all sounds great, but it's not something that I'm going to do. I'm not that kind of person. Well, stop thinking like that. Let's get started on this journey. Let's think about how we can get you to study abroad. So the first thing is get a passport. If you don't have one, apply for one. It's good for 10 years. You can use it whether you study abroad or not. There's also a passport scholarship through our office. So if you do end up deciding you want to study abroad, we can help you apply for a passport and then reimburse you for those costs. But it's a vital identity document. You're going to use it even if you don't use it this year. We have something called Getting Started sessions in OIA, and these are really useful ways for you to kind of open the door to the conversation about where you want to go, when you want to go, and what kind of credit you want to get on your experience. The nice thing about Getting Started sessions is they're run by our student workers, and our student workers are your peers. They are people just like you who have gone through all of the stages, who've applied, who've researched, who've actually gone and studied abroad, who've funded their experience, who know the ins and outs and are willing to talk to you very frankly about their experiences and how it all works. So come to a Getting Started session. We run them twice a week. When you get to campus, you'll see what days they're going to be and what times. They're always in OIA and they're always student-led. So again, they're really comfortable places to come and ask questions that you might have. Our big flagship event takes place during the fall, and that's the Education Abroad Expo, where we have all of the programs that we offer in one place. We have all of the information, flyers, we have little giveaways, the faculty leaders who run the programs, our partners at third-party providers come along and share information. And it's a really fun hustle and bustle event that takes place in the Ohio Union. We have a few thousand students who come through every year. We have past participants who are dying to tell their story and share their experience with you. So it's a really fun way to kind of spend a couple of hours one afternoon in the fall learning about study abroad. You can also explore your options in the different locations that we offer using our website. educationabroad.osu.edu has got a really neat search function on it. Play around on it. Everyone's got a little bit more time right now to kind of focus on things. So why not kind of dream about the world? It's going to reopen. The world isn't going anywhere. We're all going to start studying and traveling again. So start getting excited about education abroad. Think about some of the places you might want to go and some of the things you want to study. And our website is really useful to kind of start researching the different opportunities and getting a feel for what our programs look like and what you study on them. We've also got our advisor email, which is abroadadvisor@osu.edu, that you can email and reach out to us on for general questions and advice.
Thank you so much for that information, Louise. I saw a bunch of questions come in, and we will get to your questions, but I want to make sure that we get through the content of the webinar first. So we're going to move on and hear from Nancy with Buckeye Careers, and then we will wrap everything up with a Q&A at the end to answer some of those questions that came in.
Great. Hi, everyone. My name is Nancy Thompson, as Jenna shared. I'm the director for Buckeye Careers, and congratulations, and looking forward to seeing all of our future Buckeyes. We're all Buckeyes in my mind, so it's great to be talking with all of you today. So I know this seems like a long ways away about your career, but believe me, it happens quicker than you think. So just moving ahead to the next slide. Some students, they know exactly what they're going to do. Your career journey might be very, linear. You know exactly what you're studying, and this is what you're going to do. Most students, and me included, was more like this. So you may have many pivots. You might have an internship that you're like, oh, I'm not sure if I like this, or you took some classes, or you had experience through service learning that may, tickle your fancy and say, okay, I'm going to move into this direction. So, please know we're here for you. So into the next slide, we have a great wealth of resources. And this is a group of folks who are passionate about supporting you as you explore your career interests and move beyond and become alumni of Ohio State. So we do have a comprehensive career services model. You'll hear terms such as career success, career services, career advising. They're all used interchangeably, so just to let you know, you might hear those terminology quite a bit. So within the Office of Student Life, we do have 2 departments that offer services for all students, Buckeye Careers and Career Counseling and Support Services. We offer online tools, we offer a job posting system where you can connect with employers all the way from part-time opportunities to internship, co-ops, and full-time jobs. Also, many of our colleges have dedicated staff to support you, to connect with employers that may be more closely aligned with your major. And then career counseling is a great resource because we have many students who may think, I have no idea what I want to do when I grow up. And I have to be honest, I get you. I'm kind of like that too. So we have these resources to help support you, but it's up to you to take advantage of these resources. At the end of the day, it's you who owns your career. So moving to the next slide. So one of the things that I do want to highlight, and we've talked a lot about experiential learning and all these different opportunities, a common one that you might hear is an internship. And I never want to assume that everybody knows what an internship is, so I thought I would go through real quickly what that is. In most cases, it's some type of work experience with a company or an organization that you're applying your learning from the classroom in a professional setting. There's usually some type of learning objectives or goals, and most internships have a defined beginning and end. Commonly, you'll hear about summer internships. Most of them are semester long, and we're starting to see actually more fall and spring internships. The students, you all would be supervised by a professional who provide regular performance feedback and coaching and serve in some cases as a mentorship role for you. So those are just some high-level definition of what an internship is. So why should you do an internship? Similar to all the other experiential learning opportunities, it's a great way to learn more about yourself, your future career interests. How are you applying the work that you're doing in the classroom to in a professional setting? And I'm going to say professional setting pretty loosely. I think we're finding more and more work environments are becoming more casual, which I like. Also, too, it gives you a better understanding of an industry. And I remind students, this is a great time for you to actually interview the employer. Yes, they are interviewing you, but you get a chance to say, is this a place that I could see myself working after school? And probably one of the, I would say, the most compelling reasons for why you should do an internship, it does increase that potential to have a full-time job offer. So we have a graduation survey that we send out every year, and students self-reported that they were 2.8 times more likely to have accepted a job at graduation if they had completed an internship. So to me, that's pretty compelling. If you also think about, you know, in terms of how many students are participating in internships or other experiential learning, from our graduation survey data results, we're seeing that more than 70% of Ohio State students are completing an internship or some type of experiential learning. And about a third of those accept a full-time job offer from those organizations they have their internship at. A common question that we do get asked is, when do I start thinking about an internship? Most cases, employers are looking for interns between their second and third and fourth year. And they start recruiting about 8 months prior. So for example, we'll have career fairs and numerous events on campus, as well as virtually, that will connect you with employers in the fall that are looking to hire interns for summer of 2021. So I encourage you to plan ahead. We'll go ahead to the next slide. The other thing that I feel very fortunate here at Ohio State, there's so much support for internship, and also within the state of Ohio. We have a great economy here, especially in the central Ohio region. You know, thinking about, you know, Columbus is the 14th largest city in the country. It also has 15 headquarters of Fortune 1000 organizations. The type of industries that are represented here in central Ohio range from government, federal, local, state, to, you know, large manufacturing organizations like Honda, financial services like Huntington, JP Morgan Chase, all the way to even some of the sports. You know, we've got Columbus Crew, the Columbus Blue Jackets, so lots of opportunities. And that's one of the things that within Ohio State I can say we take pride in is many of our students sell themselves. We have this great brand here at Ohio State, and I would just encourage you to take advantage of all those opportunities. So I know we threw a lot of information to you right away, but please feel free to reach out if you have any questions as you start thinking about internships in the future. I'll turn it back to Jenna.
Great. Thank you so much, Nancy. And I just want to say really a thank you to all of our panelists today. As I said, we are going to do a Q&A in just a minute or two, but I did have a couple of really important reminders for all of you guys as admitted students. Just a couple things admissions related that I wanted to touch on really quick before we jump to that Q&A. Your financial aid notices have all gone out already. They would have been emailed to you via your Ohio State email address. So make sure that you're checking that for those notices. That's also where you'll receive your housing and orientation information. So just be sure that you're checking that Ohio State email pretty frequently so you're not missing anything important. As a reminder, our confirmation date for paying the acceptance fee is still May 1st. So we are hosting this webinar and many others throughout the next few weeks to help provide you guys with some information that will hopefully help you make that college decision and choose to enroll here at Ohio State. But we do still have that deadline of May 1st for paying that acceptance fee. As I mentioned, we do have additional opportunities online. There will be a website on the next page that will have some information for you guys as admitted students, some videos that you can watch, including also the rest of the webinars that we're hosting if you want to register for any of those, and a chance to connect with your individual colleges. So be sure to check that out to see how to connect with your academic colleges. And lastly, orientation invitations and housing contracts are being emailed on a weekly basis based on when you paid the acceptance fee. So we may have experienced a couple of delays with the current situation going on. So if you haven't received that yet and you've already paid your acceptance fee, feel free to contact our office and we'll get you in contact with housing to get that sorted out. But we do appreciate your patience while you're waiting for those to come through. And if you haven't yet paid your acceptance fee, those will be emailed to you once you pay the acceptance fee. So just some important notes and reminders. And if you want to get in contact with admissions or any of the wonderful offices that presented today, here is a comprehensive list of all of our contact information, as well as a link to our Buckeye Bound website, which has a bunch of resources for you guys as admitted students. So please feel free to contact us after the webinar. We are always happy to answer any questions that you have. And with that, we will actually move into a bit of a Q&A for a little bit. So Brittany, if you would like to read some of our questions, and academic partners, feel free to answer the ones that are relevant for you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jenna. We have a lot of amazing questions in the Q&A, so thank you, students, for asking and engaging with us. Kayla, we have a question specifically regarding pre-med students. How does Ohio State partner with the Wexner Medical Center or other science partners in Columbus in terms of research opportunities?
Yeah, so there are actually a lot of opportunities for students to get involved in medical research. The amazing thing about Ohio State is that we have the Wexner Medical Center here, which is a great opportunity to get involved in medical research. We also have the Ohio State College of Medicine. Now, the faculty there actually do work with undergraduates in some of their labs. So if you think, how can I get involved with medical research? I'm not a medical student. You really can get involved. And a lot of those mentors that exist in the College of Medicine have such great opportunities for undergraduate students. Other opportunities to get involved in medical style research, if you are interested in other campus and community partners, Nationwide Children's Hospital is actually a great place to do research. They have a lot of really interesting research opportunities, specifically with cancer and behavioral health. And a lot of Ohio State students actually will do research at Nationwide Children's Hospital, in addition to maybe looking at opportunities at the Wexner Medical Center as well. There are also paid opportunities in the Wexner Medical Center, such as student research assistant jobs. I know that I commented on a few of these questions with the link, but basically if you go to the Wexner Medical Center website, go to careers, and then there will be a student tab. You can see research positions, but just basically by going through College of Medicine faculty and departments, that's a great way to kind of see what kind of research and labs exist in the medical field. And yes, they do accept undergraduate students.
There's also another great connection. A lot of our students will volunteer over at the Wexner or with Nationwide. Tons of opportunities to get involved in service if you're a pre-med student, but maybe not necessarily looking for research in a particular semester. You can also volunteer with our hospitals. The Wexner is really great since it's so close to campus. It's a very easy place for students to connect with.
Fantastic. Next question is for Nancy. Nancy, can you share how many career fairs approximately Ohio State hosts throughout the year?
Great question. I would estimate about 30. We have some larger career fairs that are available. I would say most of career fairs are open to all students, regardless of major or program. We do have a couple of what I would call more niche career fairs that may be targeted toward, for example, like STEM field or data analytics or science. So we do list all the career fairs that are available and offered on the Buckeye Careers website. So feel free to go out there. We do keep that updated, and we will have, I believe, the next year's schedule out there pretty soon. So lots of opportunities to engage with employers and alumni through those career fair events. Great question.
Next question. I know you talked a little bit about students not being sure exactly what they would like to pursue, whether that be a major or career during their time at Ohio State. Can you speak again to career counseling and what types of conversations career counselors can have with students to help them during their time at the university?
No, that is another excellent question. So we do have a couple of assessment tools that could help students to think about their strengths or interests and how that maps to different career opportunities. One thing that's very exciting, and one thing I will be just very honest with you, many students might be pursuing a specific major and then they might take another job in a totally different area. So career counseling, they do offer one-on-one discussions. They will use different tools, questions, reflection activities, and exercises to help you think about your interests, your strengths. What about your classes that you're enjoying? Which ones you're not enjoying and why? So there's a lot of ways that we can help having those conversations with students to help them discover where their interests are and perhaps maybe change the major.
Excellent, thank you. We have some questions about crossover experiences between different types of experiential education. So participating in internships that are also research or education abroad experiences that are also internships abroad. I'm not sure if anyone wants to discuss the crossover that exists between these types of opportunities, but I thought that might be good to address.
Sure, I can talk about that a little bit. We absolutely have education abroad programs that offer internship overseas. It's going to depend a lot on the student's major, where they want to go and how long for, but we partner really strongly with Kayla in undergraduate research. We partner with all of these offices. So our opportunities do kind of cross-pollinate, which is great news for students, that they can touch on lots of different interests and pieces of campus through an international experience. So again, I would say come and talk to us, start the conversation, tell us what you're interested in, and then we can try and match you to the opportunities that we have. But we're constantly evolving. We're offering new areas of study. We're offering new opportunities each year. So if it's not here this year, it doesn't mean it's not going to be there next year, which is why constant and frequent communication, at the very least, is so important.
So we want to be really respectful of everyone's time here today, both our panelists and also you students who are attending the webinar. So we will take, I think, just one or two more questions and then we will wrap up. We will still be answering some of the questions in the Q&A via text, but I do want to be respectful of everyone's time. So if we didn't get to your questions, or if you have more questions, please feel free to utilize this contact information that's on the screen and contact us after the webinar, and we're happy to help you with that. But Brittany, you want to give us one or two more questions before we close out here?
Absolutely. I see one question that I think would spark some interesting conversation. The question is specific to education abroad. However, it could apply to all of our programs. Are students able to do multiple education abroad programs during their time at Ohio State? And I would like to extend that to say, can students do multiple internships or multiple research opportunities during their time as a Buckeye?
I'll start with education abroad, and yes, absolutely. And we call them repeat offenders. They come back to us again and again, and they study abroad year upon year. So yes, you're not one and done. Absolutely, we have students who come back and do multiple experiences through our offices, and there's scholarships. Financially, we can make this work if we plan, which is why starting early and starting conversations and coming and seeing us is so important. But yes, you can go more than once.
And I would say from the internship side, absolutely. We have some students who participate one internship to some are participating in 4 internships. So similar to study education abroad, similar answer.
And something to think about too, if you do plan to do multiple experiences like that, is how they can build on each other. So maybe your first experience is something short term, or you're just working in a lab, or you're just doing some volunteer hours with a student organization. But then as you progress through your years at Ohio State, you can dig in deeper and you can choose to write a research thesis, or you can take a service learning course where you're really digging in and spending a whole semester focusing on one specific issue. So that's something to consider when you realize, when you're looking at your plan and you see that you have different opportunities, is think about how you can build upon those to increase your skills, increase your depth of knowledge, and your connection with these different programs.
Yeah, and I agree with what everyone said. You can definitely, mix, match all of this with these opportunities. So I do actually see a lot of students who will start in a research project, maybe their first or second year, and then build on that to maybe do their own research project their third and fourth year. There are different ways to be involved in multiple projects and also to combine some of these. So I've seen research internships, research study abroad, research with service organizations in Columbus. I've seen it all, and you can really make these experiences what you want them to be and shape them to fit you the best.
And I think that's a fantastic question to end on. So thank you again for all of you guys that attended this webinar. I hope that you found it helpful. And if you have more questions that we didn't get to, please feel free to contact us. We are all always here to answer any questions that you guys have. And thank you again to our panelists as well for joining us today and sharing all of this great information with our admitted students. I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Please feel free to check out the rest of our webinars that are available at our Campus Visit website located at the bottom of the screen. And if you do decide to come to Ohio State, we encourage you to use the hashtag BuckeyeBound and share your excitement for Ohio State on social media. It's just a really great way for us to be able to see what you guys are up to. So thank you again for joining us today. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and hopefully we will see you in the fall.